All right. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our Mitsubishi monthly marketing webinars. So today we have Synchrony with us. We have Chris and Farhat, and they're going to be talking about how to use financing for growing your business. And as you know, if you've been on any of these calls before, we do have everybody muted and everybody's cameras are off. So if you guys have questions during the call, please put those either in the chat or the Q&A section. You should see that in your menu on Teams. And just feel free to put in those chats and put in your questions whenever you have them. And I think our friends at Synchrony will take a look at those, and if they can address them in real time, they will do that. And if not, we will get them taken care of all at the end of this. We are also recording this, so we will get that recording out to everybody in case you missed it. And I will go ahead and let Chris and Farhat take it over. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. And Farhat, if you want to do a quick introduction.
Hey, everybody. My name's Farhat. I am located in Phoenix, as you can tell from my background, and I work on the Mitsubishi relationship. And my partner over here, Chris, will be doing the presentation. I will be looking at the chat. Please put anything that's on your mind there. Either Chris will address it, or I can always jump in and answer that for you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Farhat. Hi, I'm Chris Eggert. I'm one of the senior sales managers here at Synchrony, working with partners like yourselves over the last 30 years. So a lot of the things we're going to talk about here are some of the best practices, and really I'll get into why is it important to offer your customers affordable payment options. So with that said, I'm going to go right into what we're going to really talk about here is an intro to Synchrony, who we are, what we do, and how we help you. The consumers and the contractors. I don't need to tell you that things are changing. Huge dynamics. There's economic headwinds, things of that sort. We'll touch base a little bit on that. Understanding the why. Why is it important to offer alternatives and affordable payment options to your customers? Knowing your value, i.e. leveraging this tool to increase the value of your company, get more yeses and larger yeses. Also show you some of the operational things. Make it easy. That's one of the key things. If it's not easy, you're not going to use it. And then next steps, really for those partners who may not currently be with us or utilizing the program in a limited capacity. For those of you who may not know who Synchrony is, we used to be part of GE Capital. We did IPO, separated ourselves as an independent company a little over 10 years ago. And we have over 90 years of history in consumer lending. So this is not something new to us. We've got over 72 million active cardholders. So when you think about that from the scale and scope of the population of the United States, there's a vast majority of households that have some form of relationship with Synchrony already. And they may actually be a home improvement cardholder, just like I am. Personally, I used it on my own HVAC and subsequent home improvement projects where they don't even need to apply. They already have the line of credit established, which is a great thing, and one of the things I'll touch on as a best practice. And we have it's over 170 billion in receivables. We're not a small organization. And you may have a relationship with us already, whether you have Lowe's, Amazon, PayPal, Care Credit. Those are all Synchrony programs. So you personally, as a consumer, may have a relationship with us as well. Really want to get into some of the consumers these days, the economy, things of that sort, things that we are all experiencing. It's getting a little tough out there. And right now, there are 63% of U.S. households that finances were affected by COVID. When you think about it now, over 50% 57%, in fact, don't even have $1,000 in their savings account. Now, this is economic data from a few months ago, so that number has actually increased even more. So when you think about it, you're picking up the phone, you're scheduling an appointment, you know more than half the time before you even send someone or you go to a house. They don't even have the money in their savings account for repair, let alone a replacement situation. So that is why it is absolutely critical to offer alternatives to customers. Because if you're offering them a cash price or here's the number, most people don't have that availability. And even if they do they want to part with it? And as you can see, the average sale in HVAC, this is all in, was over $8,400 last year. And that number's only going up as equipment goes up. Now, this is just some numbers that came out of ACA and some other sources. Most of the contractors, we know you're busting your butts out there. You're out there, you're going on a lot of leads, and maybe not closing as many as you would like, or maybe the person is buying your entry level, which has an adverse impact to your margin. And so we know these are just, again, some very small industry averages. But when you look at it, and you could probably correlate and say, yeah, holy cow, that is sort of like what my company is. There's ways to leverage this tool to have a dynamic impact to your bottom line, increase your profitability. That's your money. Understanding the why of this. Now, you heard me say it, affordable payment options. You'll notice, and this is a best practice I impart to every partner that we work with. I personally, in training and everything else, never use the F word, the word finance, not the one you're maybe thinking of. The reason is there's negative social connotation with that word. So I always use the affordable payment option or affordable payment solution. Both have a measurable closing ratio impact because you're not putting yourself into an adverse selling situation. Why is it important though? Well, and again, these are some industry averages. We know, and again, these statistics, yours may vary slightly from them, but this is all in. This is industry averages. For every 10 leads, roughly 3 sales are generated. Now, the average ticket may vary slightly, but based on that average ticket of $4,000, you're generating $12,000 gross revenue. Keep in mind, that's gross. That's not net. Doesn't tell you how much it costs you to generate and run a lead. Doesn't take it into effect in this calculation. But when you think about it, you start offering a customer an affordable payment option. Is it reasonable to assume that one customer out of those 7 that didn't initially say yes would now have the availability to say yes to your proposal relative than your competition? And if that's a reasonable assumption, on those same leads that you're generating and running that are a cost to you, you're generating more revenue. In fact, just offering the solution has a dynamic impact. Now, when you start integrating, and we use the term integrating affordable options into your business, that encompasses, is it on your digital presence? Are you making customers aware? Are you proactively offering it? Because the things are, we know it will generate additional leads for you, and usually higher quality leads, because the fact that the customers are looking for organizations that offer solutions. Now, if that's the case, you're going to generate more leads. You're going to generate more yeses. But also, when you start leveraging it correctly in your sales process, you have the availability, instead of that customer buying your entry level system, maybe expanding on that, buying IAQ, expanding on the offer because they're leveraging their buying power to get what they really want. and not just the entry-level system of what they feel they can afford by the disposable cash in their pocket or what they have on a general purpose credit card. And so by integrating the offer into your business practices from beginning to end, you're going to generate more leads first, generate more yeses second, and lastly, and most importantly, generate more revenue, i.e., money for yourself. A lot of times we hear a lot of, hey, my customers don't need promotional financing. Yes, I use the F word. We know from when we survey customers, they say it made the purchase easier. They were able to accept the offer from that retailer, that dealer. And in turn, it makes it more affordable for them to be able to say yes. A lot of them said, hey, I wouldn't even bought from my partner if it wasn't offered to me. Maybe it was because that's the only way they could feasibly do it. Doesn't mean that they're not credit worthy, doesn't mean that they don't have means. It's just the fact that it wasn't, we don't know what's on their economic horizon. And that was the tool that got them from a no to a yes. And I love this. My customers all pay cash. Well, think about it. Think of the average ticket you have right now and the number I gave earlier. The only people that pay cash are those that have been given no other alternative. And I love it. Rod just put it in the chat here. The average Mitsubishi sale was over $10,000 last year. Or excuse me, first quarter. So when you think about it and that approval ratio, that's the other thing. A lot of people are concerned about approvals. Well, as he just put in there, 76%. Think about that. Your odds are 7 out of 10, more than 7 out of 10 are going to get a yes from us. And then the other part is, hey, they don't look for this stuff. Yes, they do. COVID hyper accelerated the advent of the digital. When something's not working right, what's the first thing you do as a consumer? You Google it. You go to websites that are eye-catching, and that's maybe who you're going to give the opportunity to earn your business. And so we know most customers are researching online, and the keyword search of the word finance, yes, I said it again, is perfectly fine in writing, and they're looking for that. They're looking for partners that are offering them alternatives because they don't want to go cash short in economic uncertainty times. You heard me say it earlier, talking about payment options. Mention the payment often and early. Absolutely. It actually starts on the lead set. I always encourage when I provide and integrate with a partner is sales, every communication with a consumer is a sales communication, regardless. And so when they're lead setting, sir, ma'am, confirming the address, confirming the time, make sure a representative talks to you about our affordable payment options. A simple statement like that, because this is a high anxiety situation that in most cases, the customer didn't plan for this type of unforeseen expense. And by informing them that you have alternatives, even before your representative knocks on their door, you hopefully will ratchet back their anxiety levels and facilitate that conversation with the customer, with your associate. You heard me say it earlier, the big number. Don't, I always train, never verbalize the big number. Always verbalize the monthly payment. To give you an example, that number that Farrat just gave, $10,500, on one of our most frequently used payment options, that actually would be $127 a month payment. That is a very affordable solution for most people than $10,500. But there's all their alternatives. So maybe they're not payment sensitive. Maybe they're interest rate sensitive. You're going to have a suite of 33 different promotional offers that you're going to be able to go to market with to offer solutions to your customers. Give the homeowner a heads up. That's why I said, even in your lead set, on your web page, mentioning it while scheduling it, and remind the customer it's an easy process. We know we're an instant gratification society. We want it now. We want it here. We wanted it done before it actually even broke. And that's some of the tools I'm going to show you over the next few minutes of how to facilitate that, to not only make it affordable for them, but to put that sale on your books, on the schedule, and then you can do the install in a timely fashion. Now, one thing, and I want to highlight, this is very important. I'll put it, or Farhat may put it in the chat box for me, the Toolbox website. Please, if you have not gone to it, even if you did it in the past, it's been out there for many years. We revitalized it, revamped it. It is completely redone. And I encourage every partner that is on this phone call and listens to the recordings to please go to Toolbox. There's a couple different positive things with that. First, you can see what your opportunity is by putting in your zip code. I was speaking with a group in New York the other day. There was over $330 million of pre-existing Synchrony home improvement card holders within 50 miles of their dealership. That was very eye-opening to them and help facilitate the integration into the process. But maybe you want to learn a little bit more. Hey, what's some training that's available on Toolbox? Maybe, okay, Chris was talking about how do we put it on our webpage? There is access into our digital assets repository that are plug and play. All your social media, your website, you don't have to recreate the wheel. We've done it for you, and you can just plug it into your marketing and your digital presence. So I highly, highly encourage you to seek that toolbox.com, or it's toolbox.syf.com. Go out there, revamp it, or re-educate yourself. That is correct. Question came up where some of our partners, Lowe's and PayPal, are both. Amazon, Care Credit, Rooms to Go. We have a multitude of relationships. Now, unfortunately, in those programs, those are for those retailers. So you would not be able to accept that card per se. But here's the nice thing. You know, even though if it's a card that you cannot accept because it's one of those programs, that customer is familiar with the process. They've utilized our program for some form of major purchase before. So they're familiar with it. They're going to have hopefully a good experience and in turn, even a better experience with the purchase that you're providing them. Right now, for those that are preferred or elite, I don't need to tell you, you're familiar that there is a rebate. I do need to tell you though, and this is hot off the press, it's not even in writing yet, so I've been given the green light to mention it. The promotion, which was due to expire tomorrow, has been extended till the end of the calendar year. So for those of you that are elite dealers, you're going to get 6% on those Mitsubishi sales that you process through Synchrony. You get 6% back. For those that are preferred, you're going to get 4% back on those Mitsubishi sales. Please, please, I cannot emphasize strongly enough. Make sure when using our program and you are an elite or preferred dealer, you are registering those rebates immediately when you do your warranty work, etc., or your warranty registrations. I've seen too many times where partners have left thousands, in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars of rebates on the table. That's net profit. Please don't be one of those partners that you just shake your head afterward and go, oh, darn. You heard me say it earlier. There is a multitude. There's 33 different promotional offers, and it can get somewhat confusing. So what we've done is we've tried to simplify it by providing you some information on some of the most frequently used promotional offers. The first one you see here, the 6-month deferred interest option, is required of all partners. It's not an option. You are required to offer that. And in turn, that really is designed for the smaller tickets: service, repair, maintenance agreements, labor agreements. Yes, all of that can be done. And that is actually the biggest miss. One thing, and anyone who works with me, you'll hear me emphasize the absolute critical nature of integrating this offer into your service department. It is the biggest impact to your business because most partners, when they've integrated this correctly into their service departments, realize a $200 to $300 per service ticket increase, plus increasing the penetration on their maintenance agreements, because it's more affordable for the customer now to do the preventative maintenance that your expert's suggesting, but also to buy that maintenance or labor agreement so that they're not coming cash out of pocket. And when offered this solution, defer the cost over several monthly payments, they're more apt to say yes. Even if it's just one customer in 10, that has a dynamic impact to your P&L. But it also grows your customer base. Unlike a general purpose credit card, their name's not embossed on it. Yours is embossed on the card when you originate this. That is your customer to remarket to. And I'll touch base on something that's called the customer list. And I'll show you that in some of the best practices. But these are the most frequently used promotions. As Farhat just put in, the 18-month is the #1 used promotional offer. It is decreasing in frequency, though, and that's a direct correlation to the economy. That $10,000 purchase Farhat earlier mentioned on an 18-month deferred interest option would be almost $500 a month. That may not be affordable for most people these days. Whereas the next most frequently used promotion, plan 943, that's our low payment option. That's where I quoted that $127 a month payment. That might be more affordable for more people to say yes. And in turn, we're seeing the increase in those interest rate bearing promotions increase. The frequencies are increasing, but they also get you a larger average ticket. So then a lot of parties will go out with 0 APR promotional offers. And in turn, we know, but they'll selectively, there's a description here. You can restrict that, say on your highest quality product or a multi-unit purchase. You can put a restriction in there based on what would qualify for that type of promotion. But here's the great thing. You still are able to advertise 0 APR for 60 months on qualifying purchases. Schedule your appointment today. We know those promotional offers are attractive. It's going to generate more leads. Now, a question came in. Is there a rebate report that Synchrony can send? There are reports that are going to be available for that, reporting back to you what you've earned, if that's what you're looking for, or specific customer rebates. I know right now when it's rebated, it's a lump sum that we do, direct deposit, but there is reporting that can be provided. So I know Farhat actually manages that in a lot of respects. So that is a frequently asked question. We're hoping to get it systemically done where you're going to have automatic rebates where also report how much for each customer directly into your business center. That's forthcoming. Down the road, we're working on it.
Yeah, Chris, I could jump in
Please.
here for a second. So team, we are definitely working on enhancing the current system. We know there are some things that are lacking. For example, the when you get a deposit, like Chris said, you get one lump sum. Yes, currently what we do is if you just reach out to us, your salesperson, we will get you that detail. You could reach out to Mitsubishi and Michelle or I will be able to get you that detail as well. But that is the interim process. We are working on automating all of that to where hopefully in the future, now we don't have a date yet because IT teams are working together to get that done, but hopefully in the future, you'll be able to jump on Business Center. That's a Synchrony Business Center and a daily funding report, and you'll be able to see that breakdown. So we're definitely know that that is a something that we need out there, and we're working on that. So thank you for that question.
Thanks, Farad. You heard me mention it earlier, my customer list. This is a list that you can pull right off of Business Center. This is going to be every customer you originated. That's why it's important to have it into your service department, because your service department goes on many more calls than your replacement department does. And in turn, it grows this list exponentially. But what this is a list of every customer you had originated, that their account is still open and what their available line of credit is. I can tell you, I've worked with partners that have utilized this. They have lists that are $25 million deep. Yeah, because they integrated this into their service department. They were offering it to every customer and in turn grew that list so that when specials came on, they wanted a high priority product that they wanted to emphasize, or maybe they brought a new product into their business. A lot of my partners have expanded into plumbing and electrical. What did they do? They went after their best customers, which are their existing customers that they made a solicitation to off this list, and mined it for immediate revenue because the customer didn't have to come cash out of pocket. They had the line of credit available to utilize to make an immediate purchase. And we know this does drive repeat purchases. You heard me say it earlier. Let's make it easy. Yes, it really is. I wish I had that easy button right now. That was easy. And it really is. We have a multitude of digital tools. The first is Transact, our paperless process, a truly paperless process that your associate in the home, in the field, can have. It's internet based, so it's web based. It's not an app. So as long as they have internet access, they can have it on any of their devices where they're going to be able to show the customer exactly what the monthly payments would be based on the promotions you as a business have selected, and only those promotions. So there's no ambiguity. It's not going to be about, no, this is what your monthly payment will be, sir or ma'am, based on the promotions my company offers. Then they have the availability to do the application. Now, there's two ways, and one that I highly encourage. There's two ways to do it. They could do it on their device, or the one I truly encourage is they are able to push a link to the customer directly from their device by using the customer's email. So the customer does the application on their own device safely and securely. And once your associate pushes the send button to the customer, it actually displays a QR code where the customer can take a picture of it, and then it pre-fills the application out. I also encourage this process because we're getting additional data from their mobile provider that's not on the credit bureau. It also allows us to third-party validate that customer, so you're not having to get their government issued photo ID and second form of ID. But here's the most important reason why. Because we're getting that additional data, we're actually able to give more approvals. We have seen as much as an 8% approval ratio increase by using that process relative to any of the other processes. That is why I encourage it, because again, everything revolves around giving a yes to you so your customer can give a yes to yourself. Each and every one of our partners also has a custom application link that we can provide you, and it's actually accessible to you through the digital assets in Toolbox. All you have to do is literally put in your merchant number, and it will give you your unique URL as well as a QR code so that you can utilize that in your digital presence. Now, again, that's a generic link for yourself, for you to have out there as a passive. I would still encourage you utilizing the process I just described via Transact. You heard me mention about digital assets, that plug and play. The Synchrony Ad Wizard is one of the features that you can go in, create your own advertising. Again, this is free to you. Where, okay, I want to bring a particular promotion in, I want to bring in my imagery, and in turn create some form of ad marketing piece. And it'll make sure the legal disclosures are included so you are confident, you are compliant. And last, and you heard me emphasize it several times, toolbox. I cannot encourage you strongly enough. Every associate in your business, including ownership, should go through the toolbox training webinars. There's valuable information. It's not going to be sitting there for hours on end. They're broken into bite-sized bits. So take knowledge as you need it and want it. There's other assets there as well. Some tools, an in-home sales tool that a lot of partners are utilizing and leveraging with their associates to be able to hand something to the customer in the home with that QR code that they pulled from their custom app link to help facilitate that service ticket. And again, that's something that your sales team here at Synchrony would work with you on. You heard me mention Transact, and just a little bit more about it. I already went through this process, so I'm going to go over this at a quick high level. It shows the customer the estimate, and that's one of the 3 best practices that I impart to every partner. The first is offer it to every residential opportunity, service, repair, maintenance, or equipment sales. Offer an affordable payment option to your customer. The second best practice is avoid the F word, the word finance. You're providing them an affordable payment option or affordable payment solution. And that encompasses all tender you take. But the last and probably the most powerful tool is show the customer how affordable this investment is. Do not say it's $10,500 as Farhat put the average ticket out there. Sir, ma'am, I can do this investment for you for as little as $127 a month. But I have other options as well. And literally hand your device to the customer, or there's a feature that you can email that payment estimator to the consumer so they can read it for themselves. They're going to see the total investment amount. You're just not putting yourself into an adverse selling situation by scaring them with that big number. Because as soon as you verbalize that big number, their mind works a lot faster than our mouths do. And that big red neon flashing numbers flashing in their head saying it isn't going to happen. And now you're having to resell the value proposition. They've already affirmed the proposition, the value proposition of the equipment. Make it easy for them to say yes. And that's usually less than most people's cable or cell phone bills. Make it easy for them to apply. The QR code displayed on your device or push the link to them. I can attest to it as a consumer. I personally use this on one of my purchases. And as soon as I hit that button to submit it to Synchrony, I had a credit decision in 5 seconds. Your associate sees the credit decision on their own device as we at Synchrony extend it to the consumer. So close the deal right then, right there. That's where the sales slip comes in. That's the finance contract. And in turn, your associate just simply clicks a button on their device, which pre-populates the customer information we just extended to the customer. Your associate just puts in what are they buying, how much, what promotion they want, and then they email that to the customer who e-signs it. From a sales process, you're done. Your associate is done. The last function is administrative. That's the office. By going into the business center, which is your portal with us, your management team would simply, sir or ma'am, Chris Eggert's unit is installed, fired up, it's good to go. Your associate in the office just clicks the button that transmits it to us for payment. We wire transfer or ACH that deposit within 24 to 48 hours directly into your bank account, minus the fee for the promotional offer you extended to the customer. At this point, I would definitely strongly encourage you to go out on Mitsubishi's website, register the equipment for its warranty, and if you're a preferred or elite dealer, register for the rebate. Keep it simple. You heard me mention the custom URL link that each and every one of you can get access to under the digital assets of Toolbox. Grab your link, make sure it's included in all of your digital presence. Any email correspondence you send to the consumer, anything that you think would facilitate having the customer apply. It's not going to show them their promotional offer that you have. That's the other thing I encourage is make customers aware of the promotions on your digital presence so that they know what they're applying for. The next steps are pretty darn simple. A lot of you are probably saying, okay, hey, Chris, I love what you just talked about. I absolutely want to start doing some of this, but I'm not a Synchrony partner yet. How do I become a Synchrony partner? Well, there's a couple different ways. Unfortunately, this enroll and activate promotion is due to expire tomorrow, but the information is relevant. That is okay, how do I enroll? There's a couple different ways to do that. You can do, obviously, the 800 number that's right here on the display, merchant services. If you're in Toolbox, there's a button that says become a merchant, and you can do the dealer application right there as well. Or you can go out to the syfenroll.com. That's another quick way. That's you inputting directly to our due diligence. Just use the METIS 24 code. It's going to ask you for a code. It is METIS, METUS, the number 2, the number 4. And in turn, generally it's 48 to 72 hours and you will be issued a merchant number. What will happen is once that merchant number comes to you, you're going to be contacted by our onboarding specialists within 24 hours, both via email and a phone call. They're going to schedule an appointment with you to register on, they'll go through the basics. That's register on Business Center, maybe help you identify which promotional offers you want to go to market with, and in turn register devices for our paperless process Transact and answer any generic general questions. So they are going to be there to assist you, making sure that you are comfortable and confident in not only providing each and every customer an affordable payment solution, but also that you're going to get paid in a timely fashion. Once they have done that with you, any of your core operational questions, you're going to want to direct to merchant services, whether that's credit line increases, credit decisions, funding questions. Merchant services is great. And they will walk you through, again, making sure to answer any questions you may have and to help you facilitate any transaction you may have. So in a nutshell, that is our presentation. Hopefully I've got the juices flowing, the gears working, and you've got some good questions for Farhat and I. So at this point, I want to open it up to Q&A. Please use the chat feature here. I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability, and if you need me to go a layer or two deeper, please feel free to do a follow-up. So with that, please feel free to ask your questions. I know there's got to be a few.
Chris or Farad, do y'all have any, maybe while people are thinking about that, do y'all have any questions that you guys get asked a lot?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing it up. One of the key things, the questions are how to protect the corporate margin. There are fees for these promotions. They're not free, even though, yes, you may, if you're a preferred orderly, get a big chunk, if not most of that back. One thing I always encourage partners to do, and there is a calculator, again, in Toolbox, but I always advocate with partners, build the cost of credit into your overhead. Whether it's credit cards or us, there's a cost. And protect your corporate margin. Generally, by adding just a couple percentile into your overhead, treat it like a fixed cost, no differently than any other fixed cost you have. That protects you as a company to make sure you are compliant with any state, federal, local laws, but also we have some compliance with regards to that requirements. You cannot surcharge a customer for the cost of the promotions. And you think about it, I always use the example of someone brought up Lowe's earlier. Most of us have been to a Lowe's or other retailer, made a major purchase. There is a price on whatever that product is. That price doesn't change based on the tender you extend to that retailer. It's the same price, whether it's cash, check, credit card, or any promotional offer they may be giving. And that's because they have built that small amount into their overhead to protect their margin. And so it's universal at that point. And that's one thing I highly encourage. And you'd be very surprised. It doesn't need to be a lot. It generally a couple percentile more than sufficiently protects your margin, but that doesn't take into account the additional efficiencies that I was mentioning and showing earlier in that one display, that additional sale or the additional larger sale. By increasing your yeses, even as simple as a one additional sale out of those 7 that didn't buy initially in the previous slide, you're reducing your costs to generate that yes on all of your sales. And so it doesn't even take that calculation into consideration. I'm just figuring protect your margin. But great question or
Right.
lead in.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think some of our contractors sometimes, don't think about that on the front end, and then once you get down the road, it's hard to go back. So makes sense.
Correct. Any other questions?
See anything else? I think you were very thorough. So if anybody does have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Chris and Farhat, would y'all mind putting your email addresses in the chat so people can grab those? I don't think I saw that you did, but that would be good in case anybody wants to shoot you an email with any questions that they have after this. And we will be I'll send out the recording of this. And once we get those final details and the flyers on the buy downs, we'll send those out to you all as soon as we get those, but today we just got the final okay on that. So y'all got to be the first ones to hear it. But we'll get that stuff out to you guys as soon as we get it from our marketing folks. All right. Any parting words, gentlemen?
I always encourage partners, if you have not utilized the program for a while, or you feel that you could have utilized it better, you have a stack of proposals sitting on your desk that were given that didn't close for whatever reason. Typically, it's an economic reason. Now that you saw how simple Transact can be, you do not need to physically be there. I would highly encourage you to go into that stack, start making phone calls, email them that payment estimator as you're speaking with the customer, seeing if you can earn that sale if they haven't already gone forward with it, and you're able to push that link to the consumer during your conversation with them, because you've already incurred the expense of generating and running that lead. Hopefully You can even recapture one or two of them, and that's found money. And that's one of the easiest ways to practice also for those that have maybe not utilized the program as thoroughly as they felt they could.
Yeah, that's very good information. Same, we encourage our contractors to do the same thing with leads too, for sure. If they haven't responded to you, come back and check them out again. So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. We really appreciate our partnership with y'all. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. And we'll let you know if we get any questions that come in.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. Everyone have a great day. Be safe
Thank you
out
all
there.
for your time. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.